Hi, and welcome to the Sherwood Shakeup, episode 3. I am here in Los Angeles at our home production office, and we're very excited today to have a very special guest with us. I'm going to introduce you guys to him in just a few minutes, but first I wanted to give you guys an update on a couple stuff that's happening right now in our community. We're very excited to get back in person with you guys. It's been a long time. We've been obviously developing some cool stuff online and having some opportunities to engage on different platforms. But the real thing that's been missing this whole time has been our physical engagement in person. So this is something that is obviously been affecting everybody in all types of industries. But from the point of view of the entertainment industry, I think it kind of hits us a little hard. I don't want to say harder because I don't want to take away from anyone else's experience. But as artists, we do have an extra sensitivity when it comes to it, because our entire careers and the content we create, it relies a lot on engagement, physical engagement with people. And so it's something that I think that has really put people in a position this last year or so to have to kind of figure out different ways to go about being an artist and engaging with people. But right now, we are excited because we are going to be starting to get together in person, starting at our next Spectrum workshop, which is going to be coming up on August the 19th. And we have a brand new theater space in Los Angeles that we're going to be working out of. It's called the Complex Hollywood. So we're very, very excited about being at the Complex Hollywood. You can go to sherwoodplayers.com and you can get a little more information on how to get involved and engage in that event. It's an in-person event. We're going to have a industry professional special guest we'll be announcing shortly that will be there to basically engage with us and give us some insight on different industry happenings. And the point of our workshops is that these production workshops we call Spectrum is to engage with artists of all types and let all artists know, whether you are an actor, a writer, a director, a producer, or any other element, any other specialty in the industry, and let you know that we all have one thing in common, and that's that we are all putting ourselves out there as a business entity. We are all entrepreneurs, and we have to be very aware of our brand and what people think of us when they look at our brand, and what they think of us when they see us and that we put our hand out to shake people's hands, and how that's going to be received. So we develop these workshops to get people engaged and think of new ways they can better their brands, their personal brands, and at the same time build your network and make new relationships. And that's very important also in the industry, that you build relationships. You're not on your own. You're not just putting yourself out there by yourself, but you have a team of people behind you as you maneuver through this cutthroat industry. So with that said, and we do have a few other things too. I'll get into some of them later, but please go to sherwoodplayers.com. You can get updates on all of our happenings. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, whether it's live or you're watching it after the fact, please hit subscribe and hit the little bell, because the bell is going to give you notifications for all of our upcoming live feeds and anytime we drop new content. So that's important that you guys stay engaged with us, because you're going to be the first to hear about our upcoming happenings as we go, like in real time. So please do that, and you can also comment, and you can also, whatever, like, dislike if you don't like it. But yeah, and spread the word. Sherwood Players. This is our 3rd episode, and as of now, let's see. I think it's because this is the name of this episode. It's episode 3. We're going to be talking about how to budget your feature film, and it's a very complex issue. There's a lot of factors to it, but this is something that all artists, any producer, any actor, writer, director, at least thinks about or has put time into figuring out how to do this. So what I'm very, very, very happy to be able to discuss this topic with a good friend of ours, Sasha. Sasha is going to be coming in here in just a second here, but I just want to give a quick intro. Sasha Knezev is 888 Films. That's his company, 888 Films from Serbia. And he is our co-production company, our co-producer with Sherwood Players. And we're now working with Sasha out in Serbia, and we now share offices out there. We're very excited. Some of the feature films coming through 888 Films and Sherwood Players. And I'm going to bring in Sasha right now, and welcome Sasha to
the Sherwood Matt, how are you?
Players.
Sorry about my background. I moved around a lot of stuff.
Hey, real quick, Sasha, I'm not hearing you on the mic. Is there a mic setting that you can look for?
You hear me now? No?
We might have a little technical thing here.
You hear me? Hold on. Hold on. You hear me?
Let's see.
Hello, Matt. You hear me? You hear me? Let me see here if I can do something.
Oh, you can hear.
You hear me?
Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second here. I might be the not hearing you, but I think you're going through the live. So let me just give it 1 second here. Let me see if I can make a little adjustment here. Okay, try again, Sasha.
Hey, testing, 1, 2. You hear me?
I can hear you now. I think I have a little issue with my mic. So what I ended up doing was a little switch out to hear you. So I might be a little echoey right now, but at least we can hear each other, and that's the most important thing. So
yeah, I mean, I hear you fine.
Great. Well, welcome to the Sherwood Players Shakeup, episode 3. It's so good to have you, Sasha. Thanks for being here.
Of course, anything for you, Matt, and anything for Sherwood Players.
Absolutely. Well, hey, first, before we get to our topic today of budgeting feature films, just give us a little backstory about 888 Films and let people in Sherwood, let people watching know how you came to be, how the 888 Films come to be, and having your studios in Serbia and how all that works.
Sure. So I'm a first-generation born American. My parents came from the former Yugoslavia. It used to be one country. Now it's 5 countries. And I was born and raised in San Pedro, which is South Los Angeles. And I went to college at USC Film School. So I went to college for my bachelor's and master's in the University of Southern California in the School of Cinematic Arts. When I was going there, it was called School of Cinema Television. Now it's called School of Cinematic Arts. I pursued a degree in business and film has always been my passion. So I started producing and making films in Los Angeles. And then what happened was my father was retired in Serbia, and I started, going to see him more and more. He became ill for a while, and I kept going more and more to visit him. And I've always been a fan of Yugoslavian cinema at the time in Serbian because they have fantastic work. A lot of Palme d'Or winners came from the former Yugoslavia. They've always had a strong infrastructure, particularly for Eastern Europe. So I had friends, and it basically was all happenstance. I was working on a project, and I just happened to meet my partner and colleague, Anna Rebates, who was a producer there. She actually produced, I started doing my post-production over there. The amount of money I was saving on post-production compared with the quality. I would never look for cost effectiveness if it affected the quality of the film, but the talent they have there is just absolutely stunning, amazing. We have a lot of talent over there, and I started slowly doing post-production. It sort of worked parallel with me being able to visit my father because he was so ill. I was going so many times, and I brought my work with me. And then I filmed the film in Serbia with Anna and Rebates, my partner, and it just happened to coincide with the Serbian government opening up all these tax incentives. And as soon as they did that, I opened up a company, 80 Films, with Anna, and I have the same company in LA, but we strictly focused on bringing not my projects per se, but projects from Los Angeles so we can take advantage of the tax incentives. If anything over 5 million euros, there's a 30% tax rebate for anything of service fees in Serbia. But beyond that, the cost effectiveness with the quality of work is tremendous. That same application of the rebate also applies to just post-production. So we do a lot of post-production for corporations. ESPN contacted us to do a segment on Nikola Jokic, but his wife is pregnant, so he went back and he's sticking with his wife for the pregnancy, so that's sort of on hold. And I'm fortunate enough. I sort of live two parallel lives. I have my work in LA and my work in Serbia. In LA, I'm working on a TV show with Mandalay Pictures. The president of Mandalay Pictures is my former, my college friend, somebody I went to college to at USC, and he's the president of Mandalay. So I work with him often. He's worked with me, and I know the whole crew there. We're working on a television series based in LA, but I'm also working with Mandalay to bring production to Serbia as well. And then, of course, Matt, with you, I mean, we're working on a project that we're hoping to get done. I'm hoping by by the end of this year. So what I'm doing is really focusing on bringing that. Aside from the rebate, Serbia itself is the strongest, has the biggest filming studio in Eastern Europe, and its production is just really booming right now. So because of all those factors, another one I want to state before we get into some questions or conversations, the fact that presently Serbia is not in the European Union, and that actually works as a favor because the European Union is very centralized and there's a lot of bureaucracy in the films and the laws and the rules. We still have rules and laws that are strict, but because it's sovereign from the European Union, we can sort of bend some rules in terms of locations, tax incentives, because we have a strong relationship with the government. On a per film basis, we can add some things. We can really focus on taking care of our clients, and we can have an actual face-to-face meeting with the Serbian Film Commission for something we're seeking in the film. There could be several things that we could go around. We could actually make a negotiation in favor of the film. We have a strong government connection. So all those factors contribute to why we are actually booming right now. We look actually in the next 2 to 5 years to be the strongest film production hub in all of Central and Eastern Europe. We're actually on our way already.
I mean, this is amazing information, and I remember when we first met. And like you were explaining, it was the film that we're working on right now called Masha's Mushroom. And somehow, I don't know how we figured out, got in touch and figured out what you were saying, that Serbia is a great location to kind of bring a film to. All these other restrictions, especially this last year during the pandemic, all the different lockdowns and places not shooting, that you have access to there, and the relationships there to kind of structure a film and make it make sense, not just to the production team itself, but to the financing team, because the financing team is thinking about these things. They're thinking about where am I putting my money, these excess fees for COVID costs and things. I mean, things that are important, but there's ways to structure a budget, and we'll get into some of that in a little bit, but there's ways to structure a budget so the money that's going into that film is going on the screen, not being thrown away to excess union costs and things like that. And I know you mentioned tax incentives, so we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But I just want to say personally, I want to say to all the people watching and other Sherwood players alike that I know I've talked to them over this last year, but I have to say, just on the record, when I went out there and saw for myself what the environment was allowing for production, and Sasha, you took me around. We toured a bunch of different production studios, and we met with the film commissioner out there, and I was just blown away by the possibilities and the opportunity. Not with just the movie we were bringing to you, which we're still working on, Masha's Mushroom, but other possibilities of other films we could shoot there as well. And so I'm really excited about all of that.
Yeah, I want to first bring up the fact with as far as COVID goes, it's standardized with all filming, studios locations. So we have all the standardizations of COVID, meaning testing, whoever's vaccine, the protocols on set, the limited crews, everything's in place. But also we cater it to your wants and needs. So if you're a producer, you're going to come to us. We're going to create the environment within the protocols, but also with what you want. If you want, testing every day, every week, whatever it is, we're going to implement it. So it's up to you. And the studios are away from the city. We have our hotels room. So all the protocols of safety are there. It's up to you. We'll give you several options on how you want to work the production. Also, secondarily, production has been going there since I believe last November, and even with what's going on with the Delta variant and all that, it does not affect film production at all, as is the case here. But we have so many different states with different rules, regulations. We sort of don't know where it's going or where it is. Belgrade itself has committed itself to, sort of distinguishing film production from the rest of the mandates they have for society, and we're sort of excluded from that. And we work within the guidelines of what you create, and we implement. Again, we have a strong and cordial relationship with the government, and they want to see it grow. And we're using all these incentives to better your film. We want it to go into your film. So, a $5 million production could look like a $35 million production. That's why we're here. And we talked about that. And also the fact, Matt, we talked about your film Insecurity, which takes place in LA. We also have, one of the great things about us is we have any sort of, as far as locations go, we can pretty much do anything. For your film, if we need coastal cities or whatever, we have Montenegro. And I want to mention that we work with Montenegro, which is a separate country south of Serbia. It used to be one, but they're sort of intertwined, and they always will be. So if we need any coastal cities, Montenegro was made very famous in the Casino Royale film of James Bond with the coastal settings and all that. But that's our number one priority is to make your film the best quality possible, and then to do it to where you can slash your price from anywhere from 40 to 70%, depending on what you're doing.
So that 40 to 70%, you're slashing costs in production. We're not even talking about tax rebate yet. You're talking about the actual
right, everything together. So what we'll do is we'll get the script. Again, genres are different, depending on what kind of genre you have, and also depending if are you going to do post-production in Serbia, or are you going to do it in LA? Everybody has their own options. I know we talked about Masha doing it in Serbia. So when we get your script, you'll get the budget, and your total cost will be there. 40. That includes everything. When I say 40 to 60, 70%, it'll be in there, and that'll include not only the cost of the crew below the line, the tax incentives, everything is thrown in there.
Great. So, okay. So here's what I want to move on to, because people are watching with different ideas of where they are personally with their films, and right. Everybody has a different situation. But generally, I think the main thing connecting all producers that have a film they want to make, the thing connecting all of them is two things. Is how do I get my film funded? And two, if I get the film funded, how do I spend this money in the most effective way? Those are the two biggest questions. And if you're not trying to answer those in the most diligent way, the most thoughtful way, then you're probably going to fail. And if you somehow succeed, you're probably not going to keep relationships for your next film. because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, and this is what one of Sherwood players, one of the things we teach, and Sasha, so you know us now because you've been working with us now for the last year. You understand, like, we're about building relationships, and everybody in this industry should be about building relationships and maintaining those relationships. So when you bring a movie to the table that has let's say you have a $3 million budget ready to spend, you want to take that $3 million, you want to spend it in the most effective way that's not only going to get you the best product on the screen, it's also going to get you whoever is financing, it's going to make them very happy because the money's going to get spent well, and hopefully it's going to be returned well, and then you can continue and make more films after that. So I think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to look together, not just in the present, but at how can we continue a relationship beyond the film you want to film now and have an ongoing relationship into the future.
Exactly. And part of our philosophy is actually, we don't want to just do any films. I mean, we want to take care of our clients. There's a lot of things we can do for you, for your film, a lot of things, including, not only the tax incentives and the budget, but we're going to go above and beyond. But we're not going to do that for any client. We want, like, for example, working with you, Matt, you're going to be a specialized client. Anybody that goes through you, you can't have 50 people that you're working with clients and take care of all of them. We want to have 10. And by that, I mean, if somebody goes through you, that's considered a Sherwood Players client. We want, for example, my friend Jason at Mandalay Pictures, we want to have those core clients where we take care of their every need instead of you just being another random number, another random production. You go in, you go out, we never see you, because we really emphasize taking care of you in ways that other people can't, and we can do that. I have a dual citizen, so I'm an American and Serbian. So that helps tremendously in many aspects. And again, we can do several things that other places can't. I'll give you an example. Ralph Fiennes, whatever you want to call him, was given a Serbian citizenship by the president. Now he could use that on his films and be, if you're above the line, you're not going to be entitled to those tax rebates unless you're a Serbian citizen, because it applies to the local economy. All of a sudden, he can do it. Now, that's just a small example, but if a certain project warrants some special thing and some special stars or actors are coming, we're going to figure out a way to market it and to get the best that we can from the infrastructure, the government, and to make sure that your project not only looks the best, but that you're going to get all those financial incentives. So we take care of you in every. That's why we're not just taking any clients. I mean, we don't consider ourselves just a swing, rotating door service house production. That's not the way we work. We want to take care of them. So that way, when you come for your next project, we know we're taking care of you instead of, somebody that we're never going to see again. You know what I mean? So that's our philosophy. Right. Because there's thousands of foreign service production companies. They're all out there. We're not taking just any project. So that's how it sort of works for us.
That's awesome. And I love that approach, the philosophy. It's worked amazingly well, especially during this last year. And I think a lot of people have been reluctant to go out there and say, how can I shoot my film outside of where we are here in LA and California, or even if they're willing to go somewhere in another state like Georgia or Utah, but they're like, well, traveling outside of the country, isn't that going to make things harder? Isn't that going to be more difficult? I mean, that's the kind of question I asked right away when I first was like, wait a minute, we're going to go shoot this film in Serbia during a lockdown. Like, how are we going to even? My first question was, how am I even going to get over there and back?
Right.
Let alone, how am I going to convince my production crew, not to mention some cast members. Let's just take Masha's Mushroom, for example. I mean, we have some pretty big talent attached. And it's like, how do you get these guys excited about getting on a plane and going somewhere they've never been before, especially during COVID and the pandemic and post-COVID and post-pandemic? Yeah. How would you say you deal with those type of questions, Sasha?
Well, that's what my job is. I mean, it starts off with me having a lunch or a dinner with somebody and convincing them that I'm the guy that's going to take care of you. That's my job. And when I took you had a great time. My job was to make sure not only that you had a good time, but that you entrusted the infrastructure of the city. It's a small country. There's only 7 million people. A lot of people like that. You're not going to some giant country. It's a small country. The capital is Belgrade. Our studios are just outside of Belgrade. We have every accommodation. You saw the apartment you had. We set up everything for you to take care of every one of your needs. But I think also as professionals, most actors are traveling regardless. I think it's only applicable to this current situation with the pandemic. But again, these are international protocols now. They're not any different than any other country you're going to. And I think there's actually more stability going over there to shoot rather than the United States. Now, obviously, if you have the budget, if you want to shoot here, you can shoot it here. But I think a lot of people like the fact that sort of getting out of the LA or getting out of the States, you're well. That's our, again, this goes back to the same philosophy. Knowing that when you come there, we're going to take care of you. Now, you've been there with me. When you come next time, I'm going to take care of you, just like I did with the other producers over there and Aaron and some of the other people. That's my job. That's where it comes in. And, anybody in this industry is used to it regardless, just a little bit explaining to them about, the current situation. And that's my job. If I could say, I had the conversation with Beverly D'Angelo when on the phone, she asked some questions about shooting in Belgrade with Masha, I think in November, and she's wonderful lady. She was there in Yugoslavia in '91. She was in Belgrade. She had a wonderful time. She had some simple questions. It was my job to answer them, and everything went well. That's why I'm here. So that's and I think honestly the direction of the industry is going that way. I mean, if you remember in the 90s, everybody was shooting in Canada, right? That was the big thing for tax rebates. Then it started shifting to other places. Currently, right now, if you want the specific iconography and geography of say Europe or the West or United States, I think that Eastern Europe, we're here to stay. We work with other countries as well, but we're really looking to in the next 5 years be the #1 filmic hub in Central and Eastern Europe. We're almost there. Some will argue that we already are, but I really want it to be very much embedded and stamped.
Awesome. And I agree with you. I think we're only heading in that direction as time goes on. So, and we're excited just to be in like the place that is blowing up and getting stronger and stronger when it comes to production, when there's things that are very uncertain here as far as how production goes here in California specifically. We're going to have another guest on a future episode of somebody who's taking another approach at production problems in California. And that's our friend, Patrick Kilpatrick, who's actually running for governor with the intention of trying to overhaul the California film problem as far as the ability and inability for young filmmakers and independent filmmakers to shoot their films here in California. That whole like kind of revamping of the system is going to take a long time. I'm going to have him on another time, and this is going to be really awesome to talk to Patrick about that. But it's going to take a long time to revamp that. And in the meantime, while we're trying to figure out how to fix that, fix those issues, fix those problems, those tax rebate issues, whether your film even gets approved to shoot at all in this state. It's crazy how many people get left in the dust. So that system needs to be revamped. And while we're looking into doing that, and we got people doing that, I'm happy to be affiliated with you, Sasha, and being able to take movies out right now to a place that doesn't have those problems, that has things ready to go, and you are ready to host us and ready to provide for us. So we can make good films, and we can make films that, again, that are money is being spent well. It's going on the screen. It's going to places that's going to make the production crew happy, and of course the investors happy as well.
Right. Well, in some cases, I totally agree with you. Bringing back production, like for example, the TV series that I'm working on, that has to be shot in LA because it revolves around the port of LA and the unions, and it's sort of on the waterfront meets the party with some gangs and all that. Anyway, so that has to be shot on the port, and that's the atmosphere and locations. But everything else, we could shoot over there. And then there's sometimes if you want to shoot in, for example, a scene that takes place in London, Paris, Prague, Belgrade is the perfect substitute for that. It's perfect. Aside from, anything else, if we, the studios we have. But a lot of times, people, Matt, particularly during the election, all that, I'm not one to get into politics, but some people like getting away just for a while. You know what I mean? Just kind of, all right, I'm going to, you know what I mean? There's so much stuff going on in our country. And again, I'm not, I don't want to get in any politics, but you like to get away. Now, I know for myself, I'm an American and I go every 3 months because of work, every couple months to Serbia. And it's nice to sort of get away and it's nice to come back. But, some people like that. It's like, okay, I'm going to go do a project, sort of get outside and come back. So I know some people look at that aspect. They like it. But also the fact that we can literally shoot anything. And I just want to real quick, Matt, because my colleague Anna sent me the exact numbers on the spending on the rebates, because some of them have to do with documentaries as well, and made in commercials. So I have it written down. I know the feature stuff I know like really good, but let me just read this quick to you. So so the minimum for a rebate on a film is 300,000 euros, which is about $331,000. So if you have a small independent film for $331,000, okay, because they go by euros, you can get a tax rebate incentive on a film that's under 400,000, a little over 300,000, and then for a TV episode, 150,000 euros, which is about let's say about $160,000 just for an episode. You're entitled to get the rebate. Animated film, audio, visual, post-production, 150,000 euros. That's $166,000. So even just visual post-production, for example, CGI, animation, whatever. If your budget is 166,000, you're applicable. That's euros, 150,000. Commercials, same thing, 150,000 euros, which is 166 grand. And documentaries, 50,000 euros, which is $55,000. So
wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. So you're telling me if I have a documentary I want to shoot in Serbia and I have a budget for $55,000, I'm going to get a rebate on that for what? Yeah. What am I going to get back on that, on $55,000?
Well, I mean, you're going to get I have to look at it. I think it's 20%. It's not like the feature, but you're definitely going to get something. But you have to actually shoot it there. But if you do post-production, so you don't shoot it there, but you just do post-production, we could do the same thing. So I
can get 20% back on post-production if I shot let's say I shot a documentary in LA and it's about something in LA and I ran out of money to edit here because the costs are so high. But if I put together something, are you going to want to see a budget that's all post-production, or are you going to want to see like the entire budget?
No, just the post-production. Whatever we're hiring our crew to do there is where the rebate kicks in, because you're hiring the Serbian workforce. That's how they want to galvanize the film industry and keep it running strong. So whatever is spent in Serbia, so whatever your post-production is, if that's it, and I mean, come on, let's face it, today's rates, that's really a steal. I mean, that's pretty much almost any post-production project for the most part.
Yeah. So for feature films, I could have a rebate. If I shoot in Serbia, my rebate can be up to 40%. Is that?
It's 30% if it's over 5 million euros.
30% if it's over 5 million.
Yeah. 20% for TV commercials and 25% for TV series, documentaries, animation, and post-production. So actually, your post-production would be 25%. I'm looking at it now. We generally deal with the feature aspect, right. But we do post-productions. Like I said, we do a lot of. Right now, we're really busy doing a lot of videos for corporations because of a lot of people are doing trainings for COVID and whatnot. But so there's an entire post-production aspect of it and commercials. But the big one is if it's over 5 million, you give 30% on a feature film.
Well, that's incredible. But more than that, I just want to stress to the audience, it's not that you just are having the opportunity to have this 30%. The fact that you qualify for it, you can actually obtain it. It's not something like in California where you're going for the 25% rebate. Here, the waiting list and the qualifications and getting rejected. I mean, it happens all the time here. People submit their films. They do everything right. They check every single box and they don't get the rebate. And it sucks because people are like losing. They don't want to throw away this extra money for no reason, and then they have to somewhere else. And that's the problem with, I know for firsthand experience in California, that's a huge problem, is not even getting the rebate at all.
Yeah, I know. So, well, we wouldn't be in business if that was the case, obviously. But so for $331,000, which is 300,000 euros, if you shoot there and you spend 331, come on, that's like, in some cases, that's a commercial, you'll get 25% rebate. Just on that. And again, our prices, the cost of the people, we have amazing crew members, and we're going to get you the best quality, and they're going to, give you the best rate because they work with us specifically. So those are all the incentives we have.
That's awesome, Sasha. So I want to just pause for a second here. I'm going to, we have a question from earlier before when we first came on from Leslie, who asks about the workshops. And this, I'm just going to tie this to what we're talking about, because again, what we're doing right now is very workshop-y. And I just want people to understand that like the workshop, the question is, can anyone join the workshops? What level of experience? Absolutely. Anybody can join the workshops. We are offering information for people of all aspects and all elements of production, whether you are an actor, performer, you're a writer, you're a producer, you're a director, or you're stumbling into the industry for the first time and you just want an education on how this thing even works from scratch. So we take all sorts of people that can come into this, and we will be at, just telling people, we will be at Hollywood, Los Angeles, our new starting August 19th. You can go to sherwoodplayers.com and find out more about that. We're going to be announcing our special guest very soon. We're going to try to do a lot more of these in-person ones, but we are going to continue doing this on here on YouTube. This is really fun. I love having you on here, Sasha. And I also want people to know that aren't aware, we're going to be moving into Clubhouse every Tuesday. So we'll finish the episode here and we're going to move into Clubhouse where we can actually have one-on-one and group discussions and continue the conversation. So I hope, and Sasha, you're going to be able to come on the Clubhouse with us in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. 3 o'clock. Yeah, definitely. I also want to let you know that I spoke to my colleague, Anna, and she's more than willing to be a guest on this show whenever you invite her on. So,
perfect. Very cool.
She can get you some more specific details as well.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I'd love to have her on, and she'll be coming from Serbia, like from live across the country. I'm sorry, across the globe.
Across the globe, yeah. Just give her like a week notice and schedule it, and we'll be good to go.
And absolutely. I appreciate that. And I want everyone to know, like, we chose this time, and this is our third episode, and we seem to be getting a lot of momentum and a lot of great feedback from everybody over the last 2 weeks. This being our third week. We love the time. We love the time slot we chose. It seems to be working very well. Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific. It allows us, the 2 p.m. time in California allows us to have conversations with people in other parts of the globe. We can talk to people in New York who are at 5 o'clock, and then we can talk to people in Serbia who are a little bit more into the evening. So this is why we're doing a 2 o'clock regular schedule show. And we do intend to engage with our colleagues and our friends around the world as we move forward with Sherwood Players and growing our community, building our network, and providing resources to people in our network so they can grow their personal networks as well. And that's our mission statement for Sherwood Players and this show. So again, thanks for being on this show. Yes, thank you.
I love the mission statement too.
Thank you, Sasha. So we have a little bit more time here. What I'm going to do right now, I'm gonna change the topic just a little bit, but we're going to stay on course on feature film financing and budgeting and production. But we're going to just personalize a particular film that we brought up earlier, Sasha. I'm going to talk about the film I came to you with. And this film I'm going to use as kind of a template for other people. If you guys want to engage with us here and write some more questions, that would be awesome. Or you can come in and actually talk to us both on Clubhouse in about 20 minutes from now. But this is where I'm going to take this conversation right now. So Sasha, most films, I assume, and this is a question I don't need an answer for because I think I know the answer, but most films you would obviously prefer that they are fully financed and ready to go. That's where you can really do your work. You can say, I have this film, here's the budget. Let's put this budget together and allocate the funds in the best way, get you your rebate. Let's put production dates on the calendar. Let's fly your people out here and let's get going. That's your ideal situation, correct?
Exactly.
Now, unfortunately, not all situations are like that because a lot of films might have financial commitments, but not necessarily the money in the bank. And those financial commitments can get things can get a little rocky sometimes. And what happens like that, and I'm going to use our film as an example. And I know some people are wondering, we brought a film to you last summer called Masha's Mushroom, starring Tara Reid, Vivica A. Fox, and Beverly D'Angelo, who you mentioned earlier, who we've had some great conversations with. And Tara Reid is also producing the film with us. And so when we brought it to you, we actually did not have the financing in the bank. We didn't have the film financed. We were still preliminarily, we were shopping around where we can shoot this. And we decided Serbia in Belgrade with 888 Films was the best. This now, I know a lot of filmmakers have the same problem. If you have financing committed and you don't have it in the bank, what can you do? What should you do? What do you need to do to solve that problem? What we came up with is 3 things. All being, you have to raise the value of your product and lower the risk of the investment. And so that makes for a good investment in anything. We're not just talking movies. We're talking anything where you're looking at it at private equity, an investment that's not coming from a studio. Because let me be very clear, we're not going to get, with our little tiny independent $3 million, $5 million film, we're not going to get, Universal or Sony. They're not going to just write a check to us. We need to raise this money from an independent capital source. That's venture capital or wherever it's coming from. It needs to come from an independent source. So like any investment, we have to have that value of that product be as high as possible and the risk of that investment be as low as possible. And with that said, the 3 things that we look at, and what Sasha, you and I have looked at for particularly this film over the last year, we're looking at 3 things. We're looking at casting, pre-sales, and tax rebates. I think that if you look at those 3 categories, you'll see that some of those can be very challenging. Some of them is not so challenging. Those 3, casting, pre-sales, and tax rebates, which will do those things for your film. We've already covered tax rebates. Serbia is a great place to get those tax rebates. So we checked that box off right away. Correct?
Yes.
Yes. So these other 2 things, casting and pre-sales, these are things that I know you know personally because you and I have been conversing and been basically problem solving this for the last several months. And it's really about getting a cast attached to your project that justifies the spending of the budget. In other words, that cast is going to attract sales on your film. And if you can track those sales before you shoot, in other words, what we call pre-sales, then that will raise the value of your film and therefore attract that investment. And so we've been, and I'm happy to be able to say that over these last several months, Sasha, that you and I working on Masha's Mushroom, and structuring this, bringing in a cast to the table, bringing in a sales company, that we didn't have when we first met. We actually got very, very lucky to have
moved around,
yeah. And remember that when we brought in, this is one of the biggest things that we were able to do for this film was bring in Todd Slater from the Slater brothers. And this is a huge deal. And I recommend to all filmmakers out there, try and build relationships with sales companies, because reputable sales companies. So Todd Slater's the Slater brothers is come on board as our sales company that can generate pre-sales for us for this film. We go into production, and this is huge, because you have to look at those things in your international market. What is the value of your film, and is it going to sell before the money is in the bank? And
one name can change your entire film. You get the right person attached, it's a snowball effect.
Absolutely.
And by chance, can I ask you, did you speak to Terry today, as an aside?
Oh, right. Well, as a lot of people, maybe people don't know this, but Cannes Film Festival was up and running, and it's one of the biggest ones of the year. And post pandemic, they managed to put together a 2-week festival in Cannes, and it just ended. And I believe our guy Terry, who's working directly with us with casting, has just returned. At what I heard, I got the text this morning. He just returned today. I thought it was going to be last night, so he's today. So we're going to have a conversation. We're going to have a conversation soon. But he has targeted us 3 more cast names for Mosh's Mushroom, which I can't reveal just yet. Yeah, but we will be able to do it soon. But 3 new actors to pair with Tara Reid, Beverly D'Angelo, and Vivica A. Fox. That it's going to be very, very exciting, not just for the audience that's going to come watch this film, but particularly it's going to be exciting for our sales rep, Todd Slater, and everybody involved with the financing and the production team. So we're very excited. We're not able to make that announcement just yet, but we are about to lock in new casting. And that casting, again, is about raising the value of your product to attract investors. And that's what we've been engaging in doing. And, Sasha, you've been awesome in helping us target these people and get the right combination of talent and value behind each project. So that's where we're at.
I want to, mention just one more thing that I forgot, which is very important. One of the biggest, kept secrets that not many people in the United States know about is the fact that there's tremendous casting. There's a lot of great American actors living in Europe for those ancillary roles, those small supporting roles. You know what I mean? It could be a bigger, smaller supporting role. It could be a smaller supporting role. I mean, you have a lot, and we work with casting agency throughout Europe. So if you want to get any ethnicity, any accent, you want a Boston accent, you want a Texas accent, you want someone to be Black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever it is, it's covered. A lot of people don't know that. But again, if you have a good film, you have 3 stars or say 2 stars and 1 supporting, but you have, we always have those roles, the store clerk or whatever, that's different. But if you have a couple of roles that are, they're not that big, they're not that small, there's wonderful actors there that are much, much more economical in terms of cost, and that you could utilize them. You can cast an entire film with that talent. Of course, you're going to do the casting because you're going to work with our casting agency, but that can save you money if you're going for some star that's kind of pricey, and you're like, why it's pricey, but you can offset that by getting a couple other actors, great actors, to fill in those smaller roles. So you're not flying 50 actors or 20. Essentially, it's just your leads and your big supporting roles, but we could do it either way, and that's a tremendous advantage. I mean, like I said, I can't overestimate how qualified they are, how good they are, and it's literally, we could fill any role. So that's just something that I wanted to bring, because a lot of times people are looking at their entire script and to cast the entire script. No, we can do that all over it.
No,
so that's another thing.
Yeah, and you hit it on the head there, Sasha. It's just getting just the right amount of roles. Like you can count it on your hand a lot of the time. So either one of the leads, 3 or 4 supportings, maybe maybe 1 cameo for sure. But like that's about it. That's all you need. Don't cast your entire film before you start pre-production. That's not good. But focusing on those a handful of those roles and getting the right cast on board and aligning yourself with a sales company that understands how sales works on an international level, different territories that you need to get value for your project, you're going to be in good shape, and you're going to be able to make a $2 million film, a $3 million film, a $5 million film, and you're going to be able to do it without studio money, without getting a green light from Sony or from Universal. You're going to be able to do it on your own, and with your team that you've built, and that's what we champion. That's what we like to see in here.
One more thing. Last year also, I worked with a pretty big studio. I won't mention the name, and they had a sci-fi film. I believe the budget was $3-4 million, with a pretty substantial female star, which I'm going to leave nameless for now. And we were set to do that again. COVID kind of pushed us back for now. But the head of the studio, who I know, wanted to hire a Serbian director because number one, there's great talent, but again, he's a known director. We have great directors because you could apply the tax rebate, right, to the Serbian director instead of bringing one. It's more economical, it's more affordable, and you get to apply the tax rebate. And again, he's not some just no-name director. He's very, very talented. So that's an option that this one studio wanted to do. So there's so many things. Like I said, that's why I always stress on a per film basis. That's our philosophy. It's like, let's look, what are you doing here? What's the genre? Let's see what we can do. Every different project, every film is a different approach we're going to take to getting you what you want and what you need.
Great. That's awesome, Sasha. And just wanted to let the audience know, and anybody watching this, wherever you are, Sasha, how can people get a hold of you directly if they want to bring a film to Serbia?
You could just go to our website, 888films.com. That's the number 8 3 times, 888films.com. There's a contact link there, or you can email me directly at sasha@888films.com, or my colleague who's Anna at 888films.com. That's ANA. But I would start by going to our website, see everything we have to offer, and then just go ahead and contact us. So you can contact me directly or one of our representatives, and we'll get back to you within 24 hours. Because of the 9-hour time difference.
So for sure, got to remember the time difference. But I'll go ahead and
promotion code Sherwood Players or Matt, and then you'll get something. I don't know what. We'll figure something out.
You'll get something.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe balloons flying from the sky when you guys log in or something. I don't know.
I love it. So yeah, we'll put that info in the description of the episode when we get done here. And we are going to be going over to Clubhouse in about 7 minutes from now. But right now, I just wanted to actually switch gears one more time, Sasha. I don't know if you guys noticed or people noticed the March for Medicare for All shirt.
Yeah.
So this was I was gonna wear a normal button down today, but I went ahead with this because we were just I know you'll get a kick out of this story, Sasha. We were out at Hollywood and Highland on Saturday, so just a couple days ago. The March for Medicare for All was going on nationwide in 55 cities, and so we were at the Hollywood one, and I went out there specifically for the cause, but also because when the march, the whole point was that we were going to march from Hollywood and Highland all the way to CNN Studios, which is not that far, but we marched down to Sunset and Cahuenga, and when we get there was I know one of your favorite people and mine too, Jimmy Dore was there to speak, and it was so cool because we were like right outside CNN Studios, and he got on the mic. And he I would say performed, but he worked the whole crowd, and he did it in a very bold and courageous way. And I like to do that. What's that?
He's gonna come to Serbia. He's gonna be in your film, right?
We're working on it. So I'm getting my relationship with him is getting very, very strong, and I'm going to be. I don't want to say it right here, but yeah, I hope, fingers crossed, that we're able to talk about him hopefully making an appearance in my film down the line. But for now, it's really just about people getting out there and being courageous, speaking their voice. And Sherwood Players we're not a political group. And again, I was on the fence about whether to wear the shirt. But my point being is, yes, we are a creative group. Power to the artist. It comes from power to the people. And the thing about, empowering the artist is that we're empowering our voice. And a lot of times we as artists have to accept the fact that as our voices get stronger, as the story we want to tell, the script we want to produce, as we talk about the story, the real stories out there that we want to connect with people and have and have as big of an audience see it as possible, we have to be okay with the fact that not everyone is going to like it. Not everyone's going to like it, right? So
absolutely.
And so to accept that is to say, that's okay, but you have to keep your courage and your conviction as an artist, and not try. If you try to win everybody over,
you're not gonna please everybody. Yeah, we're all about. Yeah. We at 88 Films. At 88 Films, we're all about high vibrations. That's it. No fear. And Anna, who's my colleague, she's very much into that, and we're just about no fear, high vibes, high vibrations, love, and that's it, man. Just do the best you can with those around you, and make them treat them with all the love and respect that you can, and you're going to get it back in return. And you're not going to agree with everybody on anything. We don't want to. I don't want to live in a world where we all live the same anyway. We're all different, and that's sort of our look at it. Courage, fear, and faith, and that's it.
That's it. And one more thing, we have to get each other's backs as artists. We don't have to agree with everything, but we have to support that people should have a platform and to speak their voice, whether we agree with it or not. That's what it's about. We have to be anti-censorship. We have to be for people having a platform. Whether you agree with what I'm wearing on my shirt or not, Medicare for all, whether you agree with it or not, you have to be for the right to get out there, like Jimmy Dore, get on a stage and speak your truth, speak your voice, and be heard. And that's what we have to be about as artists. So that's why I'm connecting the dots to the creative, power to the artist. That's it. So thank you, Sasha, so much for being on here, and we had a great conversation today. I hope people get a lot out of it as far as film production and to keep moving and keep trying to tell their stories. And definitely get in touch with Sasha, 888films.com. I'll put it in the link below. And we will be on Clubhouse in a few minutes. So guys, get the app, download it, go to the Sherwood Club room, and look for Power to the Artist. We're starting in a few minutes. Thank you so much, Sasha.
Anytime for you, Matt. Take care, buddy.
You got it. Okay, guys, we'll see you next week on the Sherwood Shakeup. Have a good day.